2025.
Well,
Still alive. Do you know what? I think a lot of people out there looking at a team our size thought we weren't going to be sitting here as a team in 2025, especially before Christmas when a lot of the sort of smaller, lower budget teams were kind of waving goodbye, weren't they? I had a lot of friends saying, "Are you still doing it?" I was like, "I hope so."
yeah. No, I think totally. I think the reality of it is that we shouldn't be here right now, but we refuse to give up, and we found like real creative ways to still stay involved and grow with the sport. So yeah, I think ultimately we shouldn't have done what we've done, but we were so passionate that we found a way.
Yeah, and fortunately, it doesn't. We don't hate each other yet as well.
Yeah, we're definitely pushing some new, what we believe are performance benefits, which all align with like our overall vision. But of course, with that actually brings a huge amount of attention and interest within our team and what we're doing because it's new. You know, the belt drive gearbox system is new, at least to downhill racing at a high level, and upside down forks in downhill is not. It hasn't settled. It hasn't been a thing as such. And EXT equally hasn't been a thing, but they're all topics with a huge amount of interest around. And I think actually bringing that to the public eye at the highest scale of racing is, yes, of course, going to generate a lot of interest, not only for the team, but for the sport, like people trying to, you know, having an invested interest to see, oh, okay, this is a new development. How's this going to evolve? And then they want to know the next, like what happens next. They want to watch the racing. They want to watch the behind the scenes content, etc. So of course, our new performance, what we believe are the performance benefits, has definitely drawn a lot of attention into downhill racing, into the team. So there's multiple benefits, I suppose.
Yeah, I think there's this links slightly with that, but something that was screaming at me then is that this whole like and links with the performance and the way the team are going in terms of that side of things and the bike, and then linking with the TV side of things. Is I feel like there's this what hopefully WBD are doing is taking this in the direction where we're actually going to grow our potential market. That's both the market of people watching it and the market of people buying the equipment. I think at the moment we've like stretched it as much as we can. That's the people watching it and the people buying. And just to talk about the people that are buying, if we've like topped out, then say suspension or whatever, there's only so many people fighting like for the or so many brands, sorry, fighting for the amount of people in that market. Whereas there's opportunity to make that market like God knows how much bigger. You know what I mean? Like, and if it's way bigger, then you only need a small percentage for your company to be doing, you know, better than it currently is. So, like, I'm this huge fan of actually let's try and grow the market, not try and fight for how big the market already is. And that's what's happening at the moment. There's too many, not just bike brands, but there's too many brands out there of anything in the mountain bike industry following COVID, and it doesn't fit, and everyone's struggling. You know, so either some brands have got to go away, hopefully not, because we won't want any brand, you know, to disappear, or the market has to grow. And like,
I think to this point, you're. I'm going to hand this back to you, but a conversation me and you had last night. I think this is a prime example, and I'll let you explain because like you've brought a super interesting point of view to me that I hadn't really thought about in too much detail. So everybody is not happy about the new broadcasting fees to watch the downhill next year, and everybody is having an almighty outrage on social media about nobody going to be following the downhill racing anymore. But then over to Olly, like
I guess
the bigger picture and the potential opportunity with that is, yes, we lose a small amount of the market, but as we discussed yesterday, I'll let you.
Yeah, and that's where it comes back to my point, is it's the potential to gain. And I'm still doing the reading, to be fair, because it's only come out a few days. But like, from what I'm reading, TNT has 110 million subscribers, right? So like, and I assume per subscriber, that's a household. So there's a potential for a group of people within that. But that's ginormous, isn't it? Like, so the potential figures for people to view this sport, sure, they're probably not going to go out racing downhill the week after, but yeah, they might go and buy a bike and ride at some of their local trails or whatever, because it looks quite exciting. So like,
Yeah,
I see it as a huge benefit, really.
it is pushing away the hardcore,
But it's
like
pushing
original fans, which
that,
sucks. And I think from a team's perspective, we need to really deliver what we can for them behind the scenes with the, leading up to a World Cup race run, the reviews after a World Cup race run, content on that side, so we can still really engage with that side of our current market. But then again, if we're on TNT Sports and we're playing after the biggest match in the Premier League or F1, then we have never had access to a market that size before, like nowhere near that size before. So the potential new interest in our sport, which will take time and years, but the overall exposure for our sport could grow exponentially. So yes, there's like, I feel like that most people are only seeing the one side, £30 a month. I'm not going to pay that. Sport's going to shit, but actually there is a much bigger picture that I think a lot of us are missing. And of course, I haven't explored it enough either to know what I really believe is right or wrong, but there's always an opportunity from, and I don't believe Warner Brothers are stupid.
And as well, I mean, whether we want to go too much down this road, but like if downhill mountain biking sits on the same platform, like this TNT and BT, if it sits on the same platform as football, Formula One, to name two of probably the biggest global sports out there, and we're sat next to it, there's going to be hundreds of millions of people watching a football match, which might then it might automatically just be, oh, what's that mountain bike thing? So there's like, not to say we're stealing people from football, but there's that view count just becomes huge.
Yeah.
And I think we're an industry that's kind of moved, like we've progressed on our own, but we haven't really thought, that's whether it's down to trails or bikes or just the industry as a whole. We haven't thought about how do we backfill? I've been in this game like 25 years now. Here's a great example. Here's a prime example. We've all been there. Any mountain biker watching this has been there. When you're digging your local trails, you start them small and you hit them, and then you build them bigger and you hit them, and you build them bigger and you build them bigger. And then some mates come along and they go, I ain't hitting that thing. It's way too big. And you're like, no, it's easy, because you've been doing it since it was small, right? And you wouldn't hit it when it's big as well. So you've progressed your jump spot past anybody else to come and actually have a go at the jumps now.
Yeah.
And I think that analogy is like kind of a potential of what's going on in our sport. Of we've progressed like this, and we need to throw it on these different platforms. Whether TNT is the right one or not, God if I know. I'm not a TV producer or professional, but like there's a potential that going catches some more people, gives some more people the opportunity to come and play the game.
I think that's a great example. And the big jumps kind of relates to like going back a few years, Red Bull TV, like actually you need to know about the sport to tune into Red Bull TV to find it, to watch it. So if you're a follower and a keen fan, you'll find it. But if you're not, it's probably not going to expand any further than that.
Yeah.
Whereas, yes, TNT now and Warner Brothers could bring there's potential for a huge increase in audience. And who knows like how they'll handle that, we have no idea. And we heavily rely on Warner Brothers delivering a good TV show that when they watch it, we provide. I mean, I'm sure the riders, with all the technology, with all the riders pushing absolute limits, we're going to provide a very good show, and hopefully Warner Brothers can document it in a way that is also appealing to those people who come across it from football, rugby, whatever's shown on those channels.
And the point, I think as well, it almost doesn't, if it doesn't work, again, we're trusting in them, aren't we? Like, I don't know if anything we're saying in here is right. It's just to look at it from the other side, isn't it? Of like, I've got to pay £25 a month extra to watch it if I want to watch it now. But looking as an industry, maybe there's some good opportunities in that. So yeah, let's see. We may be wrong, but we'll go along. And I think actually what we do have is, if there was no money in this industry and no backfill in this industry, it will carry on. Like, and when I say industry, I mean like the racing and mountain biking, because there's just enough passionate people that just want to do it, kind of thing. So maybe we won't be racing in Abu Dhabi, or maybe we will one day. I don't know.
Because I think coming back to the imbalance that we discussed after bringing in like the picture of what the potential new opportunities are with the shift in TV licensing, TNT, etc. This is where my point comes back to the imbalance of where we're at. Warner Brothers are trying to take it to this whole new market, and by doing that, they want to create a better TV show. They want a bigger series. They want it to look really slick and big and blah blah blah. And with this brings us as a team and as teams and athletes to want to compete, huge financial challenges to make sure they're still one of those teams on that TV show. But the imbalance is Warner Brothers haven't brought in that audience yet. We're not getting those views yet. So we can't get, support from the brands because the brands aren't selling that volume of product yet to be able to support it. So that's where like we have to be extremely creative, is because we shouldn't be growing with the way they're trying to get it before we can seek the benefits from what hopefully they achieve, if that makes sense. So for us, that's where we have to be super creative and like, okay, we definitely want to be a part of this shift. We want to continue back in the sport, growing the team and delivering a great show. But how do we do that when we're not quite at that point of support, should we say?
It's like the chicken or the egg, isn't it? Kind
Yeah,
of thing. Like
yeah.
What goes first? We've got to show the view count to then be able to go and get the big,
Yeah.
hopefully $1 million deal kind of thing. But yeah, I think every conversation I think we've had, whether it be with a brand or somebody that's working for the team, the word creative has come into that conversation, because
Totally.
we've had to. We've been like, we're going to happen. How can we be creative with you, the brand, so you can support us the best you can, even in a declining market, declining sales market. I don't think mountain biking is declining at all.
Yeah.
But the sales, there is a challenge there at the moment. And equally, how can we get people to work for us and do the thing as well in that kind of environment? So creative.
And I think if we dive into like we've given this overall summary, haven't we, of like, yes, it's challenging, yes, we have to be creative, yes, there's kind of direction the sport's changing, yes, there's for right or wrong reasons. But if we dive into the actual nitty gritty more of what that means, is we have to find new ways to generate income to operate the team. And those details come, yes, we're some teams will probably, 80% of their income, 75% of their income is going to be title sponsor straight from the bike brand. And, that's kind of it. They don't have to do anything else. And so it simplifies the process a lot more. For us, it's not as simple as that. And so, yeah, we've had to like find new ways with brands. It's okay. They can see the increase in value that's potentially coming, but they haven't got the financial ability to commit to that. So it's like, okay, what value can you bring to us, or we can still bring to you, without a physical cash transaction? And to be honest, this is where the whole thing with our new title sponsor comes in, which I don't think we want to discuss too much on this whatever this is. But that is how that whole thing came about. Is if we're going to stay involved in this, we need to find alternative ways to generate income. Otherwise, we're going to have to pull the plug and just not be a part of this sport, at least for now. I wasn't prepared to do that. I don't think any of us wanted that to happen. And so, yeah, this is where we built and generated access and worked with the brands to see like how can we generate new value, like things that haven't been done before. And that was forced because we had to find something or we pulled the plug, and we did not want to pull the plug.
I mean, I'll speak for myself first. There ain't no disappearing of the passion my side, and if I'm honest, another word for passion you could or link to is motivation, isn't it? And like that, like willingness to just carry on, even though it's not always totally easy and it's not just like laid out for you kind of thing. And so that goes absolutely nowhere. I think sometimes when we get a bit tired after working, I call it 12-hour Tuesdays now, because Tuesdays seem to be 12 hours. Although I think last Tuesday was 15, but it didn't rhyme, so it's 12-hour Tuesday. But like, yeah, we just have these days where it just doesn't seem to go away almost. And but it's not like, it doesn't feel like it's painful, I guess. By the end of the day, you're tired, like my missus would be like, bloody hell, your eyes look like glazed over, mate. But it's not painful until, I come back to that thing, like we can see the end goal, so we're just still going to go and kind of go for it. So it's, I did say to Joe actually at one point last year, I said, is this sustainable? Like, can we do last year for like 5-10 years I don't think we can as humans. I'm just talking like on a human level.
For health, yeah.
Like for health, yeah. Like it's not sustainable at the moment. The thing keeping us going is adrenaline, is passion, and the drive and the motivation. It's those sorts of things that are like getting us going at the moment. But if we're still doing this in 5 or 6 years' time at this intensity, like we'll have to reflect. Like it can't carry on being that fight. But at the moment, it's going nowhere. And I was speaking to Joe actually just yesterday. Like for me, obviously managing the team, like and the people within the team, a massive thing that's so important to me is motivation. It's like making sure that everybody's feeling the same purpose within the team as we're feeling. Because if everyone can feel that, I think we'll ignore everything else and we'll just fucking go for it. If you know what I mean. And like, but if they can't feel that, if I didn't feel it, I'd have walked away halfway through last year.
Yeah.
Just to be brutally honest. And I'm sure you're similar to a point.
Yeah, totally. I think there is some fantastic people in this sport. I think there's some really passionate riders, athletes, staff, managers, team owners, brands. Fantastic. But equally, I'm sure there's going to be some people in there that have lost that passion, but they're still getting a pretty tasty paycheck that's paying their family bills, paying their household bills, whatever. And my personal situation is very much not that. I've gone from being a well-paid athlete to investing everything, not being paid for however long since I started this team, earning absolutely nothing out of it, apart from I have a strong vision for like where I want our team to go, for where I want our sport to go, and for what we want to achieve. And it's like, it's not, well, I wasn't expecting it to come in like 6 months, 12 months. It's going to be a couple of years, few years, until we can hopefully start to like relax a little bit and things happen with a little less stress. But right now, we're just trying to keep the bus going. So, and there's just no way I'm going to give up on that because, as I say, yeah, I enjoy it and I hate it. The pressure becomes far too much sometimes. Where I think, why did I take all this risk? Why did I make all this sacrifice? Like literally, why? But most of the time is, fuck, like we can do this. Like this is sick. Like it pushes you to work and connect with members like Olly and everybody else on the team and brands like you otherwise wouldn't have to. And I really enjoy that aspect of it because to me, like I love working with people. That's a passion of mine. So to connect in that way deeper than ever is kind of forced by the challenges. Equally, with how we have to run the team, if we just look at very basic things that actually aren't that basic, how many mechanics can we run to how many riders? Obviously, every mechanic has a salary, every mechanic has expenses, every mechanic takes up a space and accommodation, and it's like, okay, we can't just have one mechanic per rider because of the financial risks, and also we're trying to keep a nice tight-knit family group. We don't want people to like spread out into different groups within the team and not be like so connected. And so every day there'll be like challenges like that, and it will take days and days to figure out, like actually figure out how do we think this could work with this mechanic, with this rider, blah, 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 so that we can visually see like in the season, oh, I think this might happen if we have two mechanics, this might happen if we have one mechanic, and then we'll both do that, come back and be like, okay, I think this is the best decision, what do you think, blah, 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 and move forward. That's just Breeden mechanics. Then you've got riders, you've got partners, you've got infrastructure, you've got accommodation, you've got media team, you've got, like I'm probably missing loads of stuff, but every single one we have to think about in a huge amount of detail with amazing creativity to find a team that can perform against the teams that have a ginormous budget, continue being a sport, part of the sport that's growing, but also do it within the budget that we have. And so I do enjoy that creativity and that challenge. And I think it will hopefully inspire a better team and more motivated individuals. And
it's funny because no, go on. I was just going to say, because I think it's quite, with Joe, obviously having his two hats, he's team owner and he's a rider, right? And like I will ring Joe twice in a day. One of the phone calls will be like, why you're not on your bike, or why you're not in the gym, or no, I'm not like that in terms of performance, but you know what I mean? It'll be like talking about like the rider actions that he needs to take. and then another call might be like asking for money for a test trip or something like that we want to go and do. And if you just hearing those, they're kind of like fighting each other automatically, aren't they? And I really feel for you, because I'm like, I mean both. Like, I ring you and I want you to be on your bike, I want you to be doing that, but equally we need you doing the commercial side, which is what you're so good at with the team, of like making sure we have the money in so we can fund the test trips. So, and I almost hear him some days going, which one do you want me to do, mate? Go and sort the money out, or go and ride my bike? And I'm like, well, and normally it's go and ride your bike and then we'll just skip the cash. But like, it must be painful for you. It must be tough for you.
And that is like such, this happens every day pretty much. But this is such a like important factor for me when you say like, when does it become too much? I really want to be the best possible athlete I possibly can be. And I believe that I can be like, you know, podium contender, win World Cups, but I really want to win a World Cup overall. That's my overall goal. And I believe I can be that person, but I'm 25, coming into my prime, and there's a set amount of years that I can like make the most of this opportunity. When I get into my mid-30s, it's probably gone. And but at the same time, it's like I know right now my work balance is probably 70-80% sort of commercial team and then 30% athletic. Maybe not so bad, but it's not quite the balance I want it to be, and that's because of the pressures of all this change and how creative we have to be and blah blah blah. But we're heading in a great direction. Olly's doing a fantastic job, and everybody we have. And then, you know, this time last year, Ollie had only just started. So it's like, oh God, we've got to get up to speed. We've got to like build the connections with everybody on the team. But now he's like running the show. Well, you're directing the show really, which is awesome. So as soon as things like settle a little bit more, hopefully this balance will come back to more like 50-50, or hopefully even like 60-40, 70-30, 80-20 to rider, and really fucking go hard at trying to win World Cup races and being the rider I want to be and believe I can be. But there's that imbalancing section which we have to work through first.
I got to say that what Joe's just described there is my highest objective. Like, Joe, I'm like, you're not old and washed up like me. You know, as he just said, you're in your prime. Like, I can sit back, do the admin, you know, my old bones can do with the rest having off the bike anyway. And he's still got an opportunity, whether he becomes a world champion or not, only time will tell. So like, my biggest objective, I would probably say, for this team is pushing him back to it. And if I'm honest, I rewrote my job description going into this year, not out of ambitions for me and my jobs and my titles and all this stuff, purely to try harder at kicking him out, literally out the door, onto the bike. You know, it's like, and have we succeeded in it yet? No, we haven't quite. Like, definitely not. You know, have we improved from last year? 100% yes. But like, so like, that's like a huge thing on a personal note to give him, as I say. And when he speaks to brands, you think you listen to him, it's like he's like a 40-year-old bloke chatting to these brands. But like, the fact is, he's in his mid-20s, and like, you know, like, you massive believer you got to enjoy your youth, and you know, and have fun when you can, and don't grow old before your years, kind of thing. So like, yeah, I'm hoping, I know this is his aim as well, but obviously, you know, the other aim is making sure that we get paid, kind of thing. So it's
I love both sides. I absolutely love riding my bike. I'm so competitive, and I have this huge drive to be the best athlete I can be. But at the same time, I love business. I love relationships within business, and I really enjoy both sides. It's just the financial pressure and the working hours sometimes are just like, this is too much. And as Ollie said earlier, this is unsustainable over a long period of time. But I think we all acknowledge that we're in a rebalancing phase, that I just accept that this is the part of my life right now. And if it's going to come out the bet like how I want it to come out the other side, I know that I'm not like, can't give up. I just got to keep pushing on.
Now you've got to where you are now. If you could go back and say, actually, I'm just going to carry on my rider's salary, being a rider, none of the other stuff, would you swap that? Like not own your own team and be in the position you're in?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
And for
No,
what
no.
reason? What if you could summarize like one reason? Like what would that be?
I think what we're doing is fantastic. I think the vision that I originally had is so strong for the next few years of like where we want to go. And I feel like now we've built a team that's better than what I envisioned to support that growth. And I would hate to, like, I really want to follow that through and keep working. The answer to the question is to be completely blunt and sound like a cock about it. I think we can do a better job than most people. And I don't want to be sat behind somebody that's not leading it with the same passion, same commitment, same vision that I and now we have, and now I feel our whole team has. So that's pretty much, it might sound like a bit blunt and cocky, but honestly, that's the real reason.
I'm going to just build on that and tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that's where then with the team, like, I mean, we all know Joe's fussy about parts. You know, these parts are not on there because these people are paying the most amount of money. These parts are on there because they're the parts that Joe and the team, where we work with the riders as well, want to ride. You know, and like I think that's like what Joe wants and what I'm loving about being in this team is this like this there's like very little restriction. We've spoken a lot about the restriction of money. Put that aside for a minute because obviously that conversation can get boring, can't it? But just talk about the positives. The other end of that is that we end up with, you know, a bike with rotor guards on that we haven't, you know, we haven't actually tested them yet, so we don't know if they're going to work. But a bike with rotor guards on because we work closely with JTech, you know, with upside down forks that don't even do OE, like EXT just don't do OE, do they?
Yeah,
It's not a thing. So like we kind of don't really have restriction from our brands. We pick them because we like working with the people, you know, we love the owners and the people that work for each of these brands, and we like riding the parts, you know, the riders want to ride it.
And
So
that is a huge one of the sections, huge sections that comes under my motivation and belief that we can do it better is that I don't want to rely on the big paychecks to have to run products that we don't think give us the highest chances of winning races. So that is like, again, rare, you don't get that in many teams. Like normally there is some massive contracts and you have to run stuff that riders would choose not to run, whether it's with an internal tune or whether it's with like stock products, and they just need to, you need to run the stuff that they're selling to market. We don't have that limitation, which is fantastic. But of course, again, you know, the financial challenges come in because of that. But that's where we want to build, you know, a team which isn't reliant solely on those contracts and brands that we don't want to be running. So, yeah, but there's a lot of work to be done.
do you want to do it?
We'll do it together, one word after another, is it? No, I'll say one word. You say a word, and then you can expand if you want.
Go on then. What word do you say?
Commitment and happiness, like enjoying it. Like I think we've worked so hard, as Ollie said, to motivate people and for people to want to be a part of this team, want to work for this team, and so that every day we turn up to the track, to the test, to training, to whatever it is, we want to be there. We're having a good laugh together. We're in a friendly environment. We're enjoying it, and everybody is motivated to commit 100%. That's the overall package for me. But
It's, I mean, in simple, it's go and enjoy the year. It's all about that fun for us. With the reason, and we've spoken about the hard work, the violin's been out maybe at times, but the reason we're doing it now is so that we can just enjoy it as a team in the season.
yeah, give it a bosh.